Welcome back to the Injustice 2 saga. Now, when we last left off, Kara Zor-El was going to go free Wonder Woman. So today, we're going to complete that storyline, tell you a little bit of a filler storyline, explaining more of what's happening with Barry Allen in this period of time, and then we're going to set up the next storyline. Because, oh my god, does Injustice 2 love to leave us with cliffhangers. I hope you guys enjoy. When we last left off, Batman and his team had burned down Ra's al Ghul's sanctuary, allowing him to escape and continue with his plan to wipe out humanity. But Damian was beginning to think that siding with Ra's al Ghul was a bad idea, and he went back to Black Adam's base of operations where he met Kara Zor-El, the cousin of Superman. He joined up with Black Adam's mission of freeing Wonder Woman and then Superman and then rebuilding the regime. But first, they snuck Kara into Themyscira, where she began an attempt to free Wonder Woman, and then everything went very bad. The Amazons who believe in Diana are battling against the Amazons who are trying to keep her prisoner for her actions in the battle against Batman. As the blood of the Amazons hit the ground, Kara is handed a sword and told to fight while they become surrounded by the Amazons that are here to stop their mission. Nubia is wearing the Wonder Woman armor and looks at Antipy, telling her to stop what she is doing. Antipy asks her, "Have you ever known me to surrender?" Nubia then swings her sword, and with that, Kara steps forward, catching it mid-swing. She then proceeds to punch Nubia so hard in the stomach that she flies into the nearby wall. Seeing her power, the Amazons form around her, and the order is given to send everyone in to free Diana. Kara runs in, and Diana is in shock that this is even happening, but warns everyone that the chains are made by Zeus himself. There is no breaking these. Kara looks at them, wrapping them around her body before snapping them like twigs. And as Diana looks at Kara, realizing who this woman is, Nubia charges in, slamming her into a wall. She begins to pummel Kara over and over, breaking the very wall holding her up, until Diana catches her fist. "Sister, that armor does not belong to you." Nubia looks her up and down. "Diana, you've been in those chains for a while. You are weak." And Diana tells her, "Perhaps, but we are strong together." And that's when Nubia sees the people who came to save Diana standing behind her. The fight begins as Diana begins to beat down on this new Wonder Woman without very many challenges, and anytime that there is a misstep, her allies jump in to help her. Everyone runs outside, and Antipy calls for a retreat as Diana dons the Wonder Woman armor again. She punches through the wall now that she is free of the chains that bound her, and the Resistance runs for the beach, realizing that they are on an island with no escape. Kara points at the ship on the coastline, and everyone piles on, calling out to drop the sails and prepare to leave, realizing that they have very little time to do any of those things. So Kara flies in front of the ship, grabbing the ship itself and pulling it along, allowing Wonder Woman and the Resistance of Amazons to flee the island and be done with this. Now I'm going to explain real fast. All of the core plots in Injustice get put on hold at this point, while a smaller subplot is brought back up for a filler issue. But I had to tell it to you guys because it's a rather sweet story. As the boot hits the ground, Barry Allen thinks to himself, one more step. Ever since the events of Injustice, he's been allowed to be free with an ankle bracelet for his help in turning the tides of battle. But the ankle bracelet prevents him from running, and it checks if he ever goes that fast. As he walks with a backpack on, he thinks to himself, I am Barry Allen, the fastest man alive, and this is agony. He's currently standing on 90 miles of straight road in Australia. It used to be a nirvana for a speedster, but now for Barry, it's agony. It should be bliss for him, run and think. Now it's just think as he begins to trek down the road. You see, this road leads to Melbourne, Australia, and it is there that Barry Allen began to question Superman and Wonder Woman. There is a group of protesters and a superhero named Galaxor standing up against the two heroes. Together, they put the kid down. Barry stood there listening in hyperspeed as the boy's spine cracked. And when the boy was younger, he idolized Barry. The Flash was his favorite superhero, and the Flash just watched him die. As he's thinking about this, an 18-wheeler begins to jackknife right in front of him, and without even a thought, without even a hesitation, Barry uses his speed, knowing that Batman is tracking him, rescuing the truck driver. In mere seconds, he rescues the man as his ankle bracelet begins to beep. Batman calls him asking what he's doing, and Barry tells him that he isn't going to let this man die. Bruce goes quiet before telling Barry, "Stay out of trouble. Emergency crews are en route." Barry went to the house of the young boy, the one that he thought had died. That is what he was told. But the boy didn't die. Instead, he was crippled, and they hid this fact to prevent the boy from being captured by the regime. The boy's mother brings Barry into the room, telling him that the other day, those heroes broke more than his spine. The boy, angry and hurt, looks at Barry. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" Barry looks at him. "I was the Flash, and I wanted to talk to Galaxor." Mitchell looks at him. "It was a stupid idea." "No, it wasn't, Mitchell. You were a hero that day, and I wanted to tell you that I'm sorry. Sorry that I wasn't as brave as you." I ran, and I'm sorry that it took me so long to come back. I want to help you recover. Don't you have other things to do? And Barry smiled. I'm not in any kind of a hurry. This is where Barry stayed for a while, redeeming himself, helping the boy that he put down recover. Meanwhile, back over with Harley Quinn, she walks up to her sister's place with Lucy, her daughter. She just saved her from the situation with Ra's al Ghul, and it was time to bring her home. Her sister asks why she didn't contact her, and she explains that he lost her phone when the motorbike blew up, and that a bomb was put in her head, and that she worked for a shady group of villains, and then she got captured, and she got brought to a giant dome in the rainforest where she was forced to work as an eco-terrorist and save Lucy. And her daughter Lucy beams with pride. She fought ninjas! And then Harley says her goodbyes and begins to head off, but not before telling her daughter that she'll be back. Since she knows about her, she'll be sure to visit often and have a relationship with her daughter. She hugs her, telling her, "This isn't an ending, kiddo. I'm not giving up again." She returns home where she finds Poison Ivy waiting on her, and Ivy tells her that she'll let the plants die. Harley apologizes, telling her that it's been a while since she's been home, and Ivy confirms, telling her that it has been a while for her as well. All of the plants have died for her. Harley demands to know why Ivy is helping Roz to begin with, what happened, and Ivy tells her to stand aside and don't fight this. Roz is fighting for the planet, and Ivy needs to help him. Harley points her finger at her. "Tell me what Roz is planning!" And Ivy looks at her. "Can we do this not tonight? Just for one night, not do this." They both lay in bed, and Harley tells her, "Sure, but I'm giving you hell in the morning." So, the next morning, Ivy slipped out before Harley woke, and when she did, she saw the apartment full of living flowers again. But Ivy didn't want to fight because Ra's al Ghul's plan is pushing forward with its next chapter. Above a town in Williams, Arizona, a shadow hovers in front of the sun. So a gentleman cooking on his barbecue looks up and realizes what it is far too quickly. "Honey," he tells his wife, "look up in the sky, it's a..." But before he can stop, in the middle of that famous catchphrase, he yells out, "Oh God, it's coming! Run!" And he shouts, pushing his wife aside. Suddenly, the robot Amazo lands on his body, crushing him into red goo. He launches into the sky, and he begins to use his heat vision to burn the entire town to the ground. There shall be no survivors. And there you have it, the Injustice 2 storyline continuing in the most fantastic fashion that it possibly can, setting up the next amazing plot line. And trust me, you're going to want to subscribe because we're going to bring you more of this story next Tuesday. And it is amazing. This is probably one of my favorite series happening in comic books right now. Now click over here to get more Injustice storylines. Click over here to get something recommended by YouTube. And my fingers are probably not matching up at all with what I'm pointing at. That's because I'm too lazy to watch my own video and figure out what I said I was going to be pointing at, and I'm guessing. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you next time!